Assalamu alaikum. I hope all is well. With you, Muhammad Salim. I will start to thank Shams to host this event. And Mr. Suvahhdan is the instructor of the workshop today. Please, I will request from all the students to mute themselves because Mr. Suvahhdan, he will start the session now. And if we have any inquiry or question, please leave in chat section. And when we have any in between time, inshallah, Mr. Suvahhdan, he will go to explain to you or to answer all the questions. Thank you again for your participants, and inshallah, and wish you all the best. Mr. Suvahhdan, thank you. The mic is yours, and inshallah, if there is anything, will be.
It's fantastic. So, good evening to all of you, and this is Suvahhdan Angre here, producer, director, Deep Sea Movies, and I'll be conducting your production workshop. We will be there for like coming 2 hours, and I'll be giving you some guidelines about how to do a video production and how to do a film production. We will be dividing our session into 2 parts. There is for the coming 1.5 hours, I'll be briefing you about the points and how to go to about this production, and the last half an hour will be like a Q&A, we can say. If you have any questions, you can raise your hands or you can put it in the chat box. Okay. Secondly, I request you all to take your pen and papers with you, or if you're typing on the note that you have on your computer, it will be fine with me, or on your mobile. Please make points, and please index your points, because this point will be like helpful to you, as I'll be sharing my 20 years of experience with you, because every producer has his own line of things to do. Okay, and we'll be taking some points or some guidelines, we can say, from the textbook of film production. Okay, so I would like you to tell I will tell about myself in coming 1 minute only, because we will be learning things instead of introducing ourselves. You might have read about me on the website that I have done around 16 to 17 films as an assistant director. I was a production assistant to many films here in Bollywood. I have done a Hollywood film called Myth with Jackie Chan. Okay, then I have produced my own films that I directed. I also have written that films. Apart from that, I have worked with as an associate director, as an executive producer for many films here in India. So I'll be sharing you the stuff we do actually, and it is almost like every producer here in Hollywood or Bollywood or any industry might do. Okay, so I'll be starting with the subjects, and I'll be just taking a minute to share my screen, and please tell me if you see or not. Just give me 1 minute, I'll share my screen, then we'll start.
I can see your screen.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Fantastic. I hope everyone can see my screen. Yes, you can raise your thumbs up.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, this is a short elite masterclass about the foundation course in production. That is the content. I'll tell you what are the contents we'll be teaching you. Pitch, that is verbal description of the project. Pre-production, assembling of the unit. Cast and crew. Work of executive producer, DP, UPM, AD, PD, art director, CD, and other crew members. Production, actual shooting. Post production, P&A, theatrical release, OTT release, selling of rights, and producers' rights and benefits. So, as I told you, we'll be starting with the small video production first, then we'll go to film. Now, I started my production house with small video productions. Means I used to do short films first. Okay, from 1999 till 2012, I was production assistant, executive producer, assistant director for many of the films. Then, with this experience, I was like, I was in two ways to start a production or to direct a film. Then, I was told you should start a production as well as you can direct your own film, but you start with a small film, that is a short film. Okay, and we did around 4 to 5 short films, that video productions. What we did on those video productions were, when we started, as many of us know, that we start with pre-production. Video productions, are like very small production, like zero budget films. Okay, and it is not sponsored. You have to like bear from your own pocket. But when we started, we were like very much known to this segment, because I was like into that. But we were like very keen to create our own thing. Okay, and my advice to all of you lovely ones, that whenever a director or a producer or an actor or a screenwriter or a executive producer, cinematographer is sharing his experience with you, he is sharing his is the underlined word, his experience. Now, you have to listen to that, and you have to come up with your own ideology to do things. Because, as they say, cinema, of course, is like, it has a textbook, of course, but every director or producer comes up with his own aura, his own creation. I would like you to do your own creation. And when we do these kind of workshops, we name them as MI, that is magic inside. What is that magic inside me? If I want to produce a film, then how to do it? If I want to create a small production, how to do it? And what are the works? I should understand it, and I should do on my own. That is very important. Okay, so video productions are like any of the production. It starts with the pre-production, that is the concept of the short film, then the treatment, how it is. We do storyboarding also for the short film process. Okay, some people might do the storyboarding, some people might not do, but it is very important to do a storyboarding, because on the set it will be easy for you to like understand the frames, the lenses and all things. Okay, storyboarding, then video video script. Now, film script is different, video script is different, because we are shooting like on DSLRs or whatever equipment that we have. Then there are limitations to the small production or the small shoots. Okay, so we have to describe as and when, like how it is to be done. Then it is a video script is different, like on the film script is totally different, because we are shooting on red camera, Panavision, green camera, or whatever it is. Okay, then after doing the concept treatment, storyboard, and the video script, it is important that we should recheck all the things before going into production. Okay, because if you are doing this for the first time, then some people might rush in things, because they are like it's your first video production. Then you might be like very much desperate to go on the floor. But it is suggested to take time and to rectify, to recheck things, right, and do it right. If you like have not written the video production, like if you're doing the video production for a festival or whatever it is, then it is important you have to go with the guideline of the festival, the format of the festival, and everything that is related in the rules and regulations. Okay, then everything is rechecked, everything is perfectly fine, come to production. Okay, then production, as we know, first is the filming. Okay, now video productions are normally done with a very small crew. Okay, there might be like 10 to 12 to 15 people, or maximum 25 people that are on like for the video productions. Okay, so the less number of people, the less will be the spending. Okay, so when I used to do my video production like 10 to 15 years back, I used to take only like 12 people, maximum 15 people if I require. Those include the actors also. Okay, and we used to do in like sync sound. Okay, so filming is important. You know, in filming that we do blockings and we do rehearsals. We do blockings with like the unit first, then the actors first, and then it is the dummy thing. Then it is with the main actors. Okay, then lighting part here in today's time, it is like important, because we used to have those halogen types of lights. Okay, now today you can get LED lights. Okay, there are a high resolution camera which shoots on low light. Okay, so it is very important that if you are using lights, then it should not be very costly. Okay, those lights should not be very costly. And if you are purchasing them, of course you can see on Amazon, you can get it on Amazon, like in the cheaper as it can get. Okay, so if you are willing to do a video production now and then it is suggested that you should purchase the light, right? Secondly, the third point is directing. If you are very good in pre-production, then directing is like it's a cakewalk, because you have done your storyboard, you know your actors, you know your scripts, you know your angles. Then it is you have sat with the DOP and you have done all the necessary things. Then the directing is like it's a cakewalk, we can say. So directing comes in production, right? And then acting also. This also comes in production. Now, it is advised that if you're doing this for the first time, practice it, take workshops, and then do it. It is important to do workshops with the new actors, because normally we put in an ad that we want actors for the short film. Then we have new actors. Sometimes we don't have trained actors with us. So what we have to do is we have to like take the workshop. My last short film, I'll tell you, was Blindfolders. It was it had around 14 international selections. We won an award at UK Best Drama Film at the UK Seasonal Short Film Festival, and in Portugal also we won an award. So today what I do as an experienced person also, I take a project on its own term. Like it is a fresh project, and when I take a project, it is important that I should think like a newcomer. I should think, and I take workshop. I'm not very overconfident about things that I do. I follow the textbook of my like filmmaking. I take the workshop and I do it. In production also, in small productions also, in big productions also. Okay, my last film was the first film on child terrorism in India. Okay, and you can Google that. It was released in 2018. Okay, now we are working on like two big productions, and we were supposed to go on floor this May, 24th of May, but unfortunately the pandemic happened, and we know that we know all the things, but we are positive that we will go on the floor in the month of December. So that is film. Sorry, we were talking about video productions, and now when these four factors are fulfilled, okay, the filming, the lighting, the directing, the acting, then we come to the post production scenario. The post production, we know that it's editing, titling, audio, sound effect, video capturing. Okay, now small productions, what they do is they try to edit their films at home. Okay, if you have the budget to go to the studio and then edit your film or do video capturing or titling, then you can outsource the film in the post production studio. It is advised to tell the post production studio that this film is like a student film, or it's an independent film, it's an indie film. So the post production studio always helps this kind of independent filmmakers. Okay, and you have to do a healthy negotiation with that production means post production studio. Okay, now here what we do is we have our own production setup, like post production setup, where we capture, we edit, we do the titling. We don't have dubbing and Foley effect with us. So the dubbing process or the Foley effect, we try to outsource that. Okay, now normally, as I told you, I try to do my films on sync sound, so like to avoid the dubbing process. Okay, but when it is required, I have to do it. Okay, now video productions, I'll tell you, the budget can go to like from $500 to $1,000 minimum, we can say. If you have a good budget, if you have a good concept, then it can it can go to infinity. Okay, but it is important that short films are just like just the summary that we can say. You have to convince anybody like a big production house or a producer or a studio. Then you have to show your work like a short film or whatever small videos you do. Okay, so small video productions are like they don't give you the ROIs. Okay, you have to put in your own efforts, you have to put in your own money, okay, and do it. So it is suggested that try to keep it as healthier budget, as shoe tight budget as possible, okay, and it is advised to put the short film in festival formats. It is important to put it in a festival format, because there are high chances that you might get a producer, or you might get an award, you might get a selection from that festival, and you can start like if you want to make this short film into a big one, then if you are pitching it to like producers or production houses, then it would be handy for you, like these selections are handy for you to pitch in, okay. It adds to your profile, okay. So these are the like small video productions that we do, okay. Just give me a minute, please. Yeah. Now let us come to the feature film segment, okay, and how production is done on the feature film segment, okay. Now as I requested all of you to like make notes, or if you have any query related to that, you can ask me at the end of the session. So when we are like new producers, okay, we have a production house and we would like to pitch in that project of ours to investors, or to studios, or to fellow producers who are like minders, okay. What we have to do, okay. Now everybody knows that to make a film you need a great concept, okay. To have a great concept, when you listen to the plot, that is the first pitch that I'm talking about. When you listen to the plot, the vision, the jiva that is lighted up your mind is that this concept can be a money maker to the producer, okay. When you understand the plot, you, because me as a producer, I get around 2 to 3 scripts on a daily basis, okay. We try to run, or we try to like audio script those things. We listen to audio scripts also on daily basis. We listen to plots, we listen to outlines, log lines. Even in my last session with Almelyas about screenwriting, there were some of the screenwriters who tried to pitch in their concepts to us, okay. Those concepts are also good, right? So producers, what they do is they listen to the concept, they understand the concept, they understand the plot, log line, and they take up that plot, they register that plot with them, okay. Then they start pitching that plot to investors, okay. Now I'll after we complete this session, I'll just means present you some of the PPTs that we have made for films, okay. It is important for us to understand how the PPTs are, how the presentation is also made for a film, okay. So what is a producer? Now I'm telling producer, I'm a producer, I'm hiring some producers, or I'm taking line producers, I'm taking executive producers, I'm taking associate producers. Now what are these producers? Like you might be like, you might have questions, you might know some of the producers, like some of the terms like line producer, executive producer, and their works. But the producer that it is described by the academy, that is the Oscars, are like, when this category was introduced, okay, it was like they finance or they invest or they produce the film on their own. Okay, now it has changed in some like some years back it changed. Now producers, they take finances, okay, from the probable financiers, the investors. Okay, it is said that if you want to be a producer, you start, means we start here in Bollywood with a seed fund. It is called as a seed fund. Okay, now the seed funding is like producers sometimes they have to do on their own. Okay, I'm telling sometimes. Okay, now in uh, if you are very confident about the plot and the outline and the script, then you start on your own, you seed fund the project. Okay, then you find investors and financiers. Okay, so investors and finances I'll come later. Okay, now produced by, that is the category that is defined at the Oscars. Okay, and as I told you, producers can be like defined as line producers, uh, executive producers. The works are different, right, but they are defined. They can be many. Now producers, what they do, they first pitch in executive producers. Okay, they first pitch in executive producers. Then executive producers, they work for producers. Now what they do, they first try to bring in the finances. The finances part, the investors part are handled by the executive producers. Then studio, if they have great contacts with the studio, they try to pitch in the studios. Okay, overall it is important for us. As I told you, I am in the first category of things that are indie producers. Okay, indie producers, as I told you, they have to seed fund. Okay, then it is important they should hire an executive producer. Okay, if the indie producer is aligned with the studio, then studio themselves are like they have their own executive producer, line producer, and all the stuff. Okay, at least here in India. Okay, then when the investment part comes in, because it is a huge task, understand, because I have done my own productions as a producer. It is a huge task to make a film. Small video productions, of course, they can give you experience, but when you become a core producer, it is a huge task. You should take a team, and that team is well taken by the executive producers, right? Now they'll hire a director, they'll hire the probable directors, then hire the probable actors. Okay, they understand the substantial audience who will watch the film. Okay, what in pre-production has to be done, what in production has to be done, what in post-production has to be done, and main important part is that in P&A and marketing and distribution and selling, this is the most important part. We have to understand it. Okay, so producers, as I told you, are not the captain of the ship, of course, but they are the creators of the film. Okay, now once you are the creator of the film, you are the first shareholder of the film, then it is your duty that you should have a great team with you. Okay, the pitch is then clearly defined. Okay, now everything is in place. That is the concept, means the title, the log line, the target group, the length, the main characters are in. Now we are working on the storyline. Then budget and planning is done with the producer and then the executive producer. Okay, then executive producers, as I told you, producers hire executive producer, producers also hire line producers. Okay, now line producers are available 24/7 on the set. Okay, they are utilizing funds. Okay, producers funds. The producers are also involved in creative decision makings. Okay, now the look of the film, or which artist to take, cast and crew. Okay, now sometimes the directors are like, they know what the creative crew has to be like, what is there, like the outline, or what whom I'm taking. Okay, so sometimes it is like a creative quarrel between the producer and the directors on this, but a professional producer will understand you should not be creatively means very much involved in the director's work. Okay, it is his creative decision making, but if the producer is also the director like me, okay, is also the writer like me, then you have to be involved in all these things. I'm just trying to explain that a producer can wear different hats. Okay, he can write his own film. He is a writer of his own film. He can be the director of his own film. He can be the actor also in the film. Okay, we have seen many actors like from Brad Pitt to Tom Cruise, like they try to EP their own films, okay, or produce their own films, right? I'll tell you what share ratio they work in. Like, I'll just give an example of that. But director is the main creative decision maker, okay, in this thing. Now it is decided between the production team and the director about the shooting schedules. Okay, it is important that both these teams have to work hand in hand and in coordination with, like, because when we started, like when we start the film, there are only 4 members, like first the writer, then the producer, then the executive producer, then the director. Then when the team starts expanding, it is important that you should have control of like, if you are a producer, you should have a control of your own things and your crew. Okay, then the shooting schedule is made with the director, and we know that the call sheet is done by the call sheet and daily work is done by the second assistant director. Okay, and the executive producers then work hand in hand with all the unit members that are described in this second slide. Yeah. Now, the main characters are very much important for the producers, because those people are the selling faces of the film. Okay. Now, the director has his confident mind of hiring an actor, a known actor. Okay, and he hires, or like he suggests the names, keeping in mind with the concept, okay, to the producer. Then if you are like seed funding the film as a producer, I'm sticking with the first scenario, then you yourself have to give some signing amounts to the actors, like probable actors. Here in India we do that. Okay, then you pitch in the studio. Okay, once you get the recommendation letter, or not the recommendation letter, I'm so sorry. Once you get the letter that the actor is doing your film, then you have to show that letter to the production house, that is the main production house, then the studio. Then the studio funds the film. Okay, so main characters here are important. Okay, because those are selling points. Then, as I told you, call sheets and everything is done by the second assistant directors, assistant directors. Okay, now production stages are defined. Okay, I'll show you in the next slide how it is defined. Okay, and we know those three stages, the three basic stages: the pre-production and the post-production. Okay, producer. Now, sometime when the film is in production, the producer sometimes is a sleeping partner, we can say. Okay, he is confident that the executive producer is looking after everything, the line producer is looking after everything. Okay, so he sometimes may or may not come on the set. Okay, but sometimes he comes to check the status of the production. Okay, he is updated by the line producer or the executive producer about the status of the production on everyday basis. So I was talking about the third point, that is the cast and crew and the status of the production. That was the last point that I made. So executive producers and line producers, every day they update the production status to the producer, because it is important. We should not go like the schedule that we have made is like, we can say 60 days or 70 days. We should not go beyond that schedule. It is important that the budget that we have aligned, that the producers have aligned, are meeting its its days as well as the work. Okay, yeah. So this is the film production organization chart. Organization chart, that is like, as I told you, producer, then executive producer, then producer is first, he is with the location manager, then he hires the casting director, then the production manager. Okay, director, the location manager is aligned to provide us the locations that are described in the script. Okay, we know the casting director, they cast, okay, the main leads as well as the fellow actors, or the secondary actors. Sometimes the main lead is casted by the director. Here in India I'm talking about, but when it is outsourced to the casting director, like it is important that casting director should be in touch with the producer and then the director. Okay, now the production manager or the unit production manager is important right from the word go, because, and sometimes I'll tell you, the executive producer also is the unit production manager. It is important that the executive producer is, it has to it has to work in both the ways. If I don't have that budget, okay, I'm talking about budget here. If I don't have that budget, then the executive producer can be, I request the executive producer to be the unit production manager. At least in my production, it is like that. My executive producer, Mr Dinesh Poojari, when he is on location or before in the pre-production, he is doing the dual role. He is also working as the executive producer and the production manager. Okay, then producer, director has his first AD, second AD, the list goes on. I have just structured here like to the understanding, layman's understanding. So I have not put in here not many assistant directors and their work because the limitation of time that we have. Okay. Now, these are the main people in the pre-production who start. Okay. Then the department heads, the DP, that is the director of photography. Okay. DP has his assistants, that is the camera assistant, the gaffer, the best boy, the clap loader, the focus puller, the grip man. Okay. Then sound designers have sound recorder, boom, the production designer then works with the art director, special effects, costumes, props, makeup, then at the end the editor and the dubbing editor. Okay, now this is a very small unit that I am talking about. Okay, normally in films we have minimum around 150 people working. If we have a small production, in average production around 400 to 600 people are working. Okay, the subheads, the heads, the subheads, then the assistants. And in bigger productions we have around 600 to 1000 people. Okay, that is I'm not including the VFX team or whatever it is. Okay, but if you include the VFX team and all, in like big production, it can go to infinity. It can go to 1000 to 10,000. Okay, it depends on what production we are doing. I'm just giving you a small understanding about the production structure, how it is. Okay, and it is as a producer, you have to understand first, and you have to make your film in a very crisp budget to start with, because when a producer comes to me, okay, for guidance that I'm starting a film, sir, starting my own film, okay, I'm to produce, I want to finance my own film, then what should I do? Okay, I will tell him the structure also to how to pitch in a studio, but I first tell him that you don't be very much dependent on others to come in and then you start on your own with like whatever finances that you have, but you start with this structure. Okay, you start with a very small structure. If you have a great concept, you rely on that concept very more, that this film is a hit film. Okay, or it will be taken by the studios, then start. It is very important that you should raise your own tempo, because it is said that to start a film you should have a mind, then mind can make the money that you want. Okay, that bring in the money that you want. Okay, first you have to start, right? Then this is the structure I was telling you. I have briefed about executive producer. Now, it is important that director at some point of time have to take over the film. Okay, I'm not like it is not a sabotage, like, but take over means unit has to be divided then. Okay, it is very much important that unit has to, of course they have to co-work, but they have to be divided. Okay, sometimes new producers will not understand the work of director. Sometimes directors will not understand the work of producers. We only know that producers. I'm so sorry. Is my voice breaking? I hope it's audible to all of you and you can see my screen. You can thumbs up or you can put it in chat. Yes. Thank you very much. Yeah. Yeah, I was telling that it is important that you should understand the first producer is, this is the third time I'm telling, the first producer is investing his own money. Okay, the first producer, sorry. So it is important that the director should understand and give respect to that thing, that he is raising his own money and is making his own film. And then when a studio comes in, then there is a different scenario. Okay, but I'll tell you, all of you sitting here are new to these things. Okay, if you want to start new, then you should invest your own money. Okay, that is my, because I have invested my own thing, I backed up my own thing, and the results will are in front of you. Okay, you can check on Google, you can just type my name and you can see the films that we have made. Okay, so this is the film organization structure. This is the basic structure that we have. Okay, yeah. Then this is the actual production, okay, of a film, right? Now in production, when we normally calculate the money on a daily basis. Okay, like whatever we are spending, normally it is outsourced, but on per day basis. But we make an effort that if we don't require that much light tomorrow, okay, or in the coming 10 days, not tomorrow, in the coming 10 days, then we like minus the light. If we don't require like that much drones or cranes, or if you are doing multiple camera setups, okay, then we shred it down. Okay, then we minus it. Okay, of course it is done in pre-production, everything has to be done in pre-production, but I'm just giving you a hint that you should control your budget. Okay, this helps you in control your budget, right? It is important on a production format that you should do your film in schedules. Okay, 2 schedules are good, 3 schedules are better, because it is important that whatever you have shot, you have to see it, and if any patchwork comes, then you can reshoot it in the like in the next schedule. Now if you are doing outdoors, and you are not going there in your second schedule, and your second and third schedule is fixed in a studio, or fixed, you have a fixed location, then your outdoors need to be like checked. It should be rectified at the end by the assistant directors and the producers, the line producers. Okay, then it is we faced this initially when we started our film, that it was like huge errors by the assistant directors and the line producers about not checking the stuff properly. Then we were like we had to do the patchworks, okay, which is not advisable. Now in my last film there was no patchwork. Okay, we grow with every film. As I told you, every director and producer has, every production house is on prospect of looking things. Okay, but when you are in actual production, you have to check with all the things that are related to like the shooting stuff, the actors, because we have taken dates of the actors, and if you recall them, they might charge you. Okay, it is important in the pre-production to make great and good contracts. All contract should be like registered, all concepts should be registered. These are basic things I'm telling you. Okay, so when you're doing an actual production, it will be like, as I told you, it will be like a cakewalk, and it will be in a flow, right? Try to shoot your film in a 12-hour shift. Okay, that is of course done everywhere, but a 12-hour shift starting from morning 7 is a fantastic shift, 7 to 7. But sometimes there are like night scenes or evening scenes or golden hour scenes, then we should shoot at night. It depends, but it is advisable that you shoot your film from the morning, okay, when everybody are like fresh and ready to go, right? So actual shooting schedules depends on the script, depends on the budget, depends on how the director is approaching towards the project. Okay, sometimes we can see that we wrap up films in 30 days, and sometimes if we have a good like budget or various locations we are shooting in, then 60 days. Okay, normally Bollywood films have lot of songs in them. So my next film, that is Campus, has around 9 songs, like lip sync songs, 9 lip sync songs and 3 background songs. So it's hell of a work to do. Okay, and every song of ours are like 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes. So we take 3 days to shoot. Normally we take 6 days to shoot, like very means if you get time, we shoot for 6 days per song. Okay, so it can go to 90 days also. So actual shooting, it depends on the concept and the songs. Of course, in Hollywood's film there are no songs. Okay, there are background sounds, and the length also is like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, less than sometimes 2 hours. So they shoot one scene a day or a half scene a day. They shoot more variations. Okay, so it is like every person has his own perspective of looking at things. But when you're shooting with a very tight budget, that we are new now, and we are starting to have our own production house, then it is advisable that you should have a shoot tight budget, or you should control your budget by doing a film in try to do a film as a newcomer in one schedule if you can. Of course, if you hire an experienced director, he will of course do the things, but it is advisable that you should do in one go. So it is called as a one go of 30 days or 35 days. Okay, yeah. So after production, we come to the post production. As in video production, I told you the post production process here is very much important, because it is said that films are made in 2 segments. The first segment is in camera, that is on set, and the second segment is on the editing table. Okay, so the look of the film, the crisping, the editing, the coloring, the background music, the dubbing, the patches, everything that is related to bringing the cinema on the celluloid is mastered in the post-production process. Okay, now as I told you, in video productions we can do it at home, but in post-production of a film, that is a feature film, try not to do it at home, because I did a mistake, and I am man enough to accept that. I did a film, but I started editing it at home. Okay, when I did my first film, like I told you, 10 to 15 years back, but it was like a messed up thing. Okay, because I was putting in my own efforts. I was I was the producer, I was the director of the film, of course the lead of the film. Then I started editing. Okay, but if you do it with like if you have a great like support with you, then do it. If you don't have, then please hire a good post production studio. Okay, and of course in UAE we have a lot of good post production studios, and I have seen when I was there last year actually. Okay, some of the studios I visited it, they have high equipped things with them. Okay, and of course cheap. So I told you, make a deal. We call it package here. It is in package deal. Okay, where all these 14 to 15 items, starting from the editing to till the DPX and DCP. Okay, everything is done in a single format. Then here in India, when we bring the film to celluloid, when we release the film, it is on UFO, then Scribble. Okay, and related to that, we have 2 to 3 formats more. We have Cube. Okay, then K Sarasara. Right. I don't know how in UAE they are projecting the film. I hope this is the same scenario there. Do we have? I'll ask you in the Q&A session what kind of format that you have, what kind of camera setup that you have there. Okay, what sort of production you do there. Okay, I'll not ask about the concept, but I'll ask about what type of production you do there. Okay, so in post production, as I told you, first is the editing. I was talking about the post production. I'm so sorry. Editing is first done by the assistant editor. Okay, he creates a timeline. Then he creates a raw timeline, and he edits the raw things. Then it is done by the main editor. Okay, now the main editor then shows it to the director and the producer, and if the director is not happy, then it is changed, and at the end is the director's cut in editing. Okay, director's cut is sometimes monitored by the producer also. Okay, then because it is important that the producer has to be involved in this process, because he has to understand wherein the film will be like going, or is it the way, is it the right way that we have scheduled or whatever, or is it going as per the schedule. Okay, is it going as per the schedule, because now the producer is not a single producer. He has co-producers with him. He has a studio with him. Then studio people might come and check in also what are the things that are happening. Okay, so he has to be, he don't have to be like a sleeping partner in the film now. He has to be active. Okay, so editing, then music arrangements. Okay, that is the background music, the follies. Okay, the music effects, the dubbing, the dub patches are made in this music arrangement. Then the film is rendered. Okay, normally it takes 1 to 2 days to render a film, like DPX or whatever the output you need for the screening. Okay, and once the film is rendered into the files that you want, okay, then it is like it is shown to the crew. Okay, it is shown to the crew means like only the important people, the executive producers, the directors, the co-producers, associate producers, will see the film. Okay, and then it is decided to uh, how to do the P&A of the film with the studios, and how to sometimes a small budgeted film can be in 100 theaters, 200 theaters, 250 theaters uh, for the first week. Then uh, looking at the audience's enthusiasm, the theaters we can increase, or the producer and can increase the theater with the help of course the studios. Okay, but it is advisable to release the film, a small film I'm talking about, in 150 to 250 theaters in the first week. Okay, sometimes producers in overconfidence, what they do, they try to release the film, a small film I'm talking about, to around 400 to 430 or 50 theaters. Okay, so to get revenues, they say that it's a 3-day business now. Okay, it's a 3-day business. They'll say Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They'll say only the people will come and see on these 3 days. But if the film is good, understand, if the film is good, then the film can run to coming 4 weeks. Okay, by word of the mouth, the film will pick up. Okay, or with great reviews of people, or with uh, like the social media, the film can pick up. Okay, if the film is good, then you don't have to be means like more calculative about it. Okay, the film will run on its own, but it is advisable that like a producer, you have to rethink and then release it average. Okay, so theatrical release is important. Now theatrical release here in India, or uh, 80, more than 80% everywhere, is done by the distributors, then it goes to the exhibitor. Okay, now the ratio of the commission, or the ratio of the purchase, because it's, if it is one time purchase by the distributor, it depends what is the ratio you are dealing with. Okay, with the distributors, and what is the selling amount you want. Okay, it depends on the casting, it depends on uh, the, the overall the presentation of the film. Okay, but till date, your theatrical release, that your box office, is important to calculate your ROIs. Okay, the bulk part of your ROIs comes from the theatrical release. Okay, so it is important when you release the film, see that you should not have a competition. You should get a clean 1 week. That means if I am releasing my film Campus, I should not have 2 to 3 films releasing in the same day. Okay, sometimes here in India, what producers do, they release around 5 to 6 cinemas on Friday. Okay, so how can a producer like a small producer or an average producer, can recover his money? The big amount is going to the studios itself. Okay, so it is important that when you release your film, in indie film with like a studio, so you should have a clean 1 to 2 week or 10 days of grace period, that you can get your box office, or you can get your ROIs back. Okay, now for the past 6 to 7 years, we used to sell films to satellite. Was the like the only recovery format here, means the second bulk recovery format, we can say. Okay, but now the OTT is very important business making tool for a producer. Okay, platforms like Amazon, Netflix, and related to good OTT platforms that we have. We have Hotstar here in India. We have Z5 here in India. Okay, we have Alt Balaji who make their own films, or they purchase other films. Okay, so these formats are also good to release, means the film if you don't get a theatrical release. And now in this time of pandemic, we see the films only on OTT platforms only, or on television, that is satellite, we can say. Okay, so OTT platforms can uh, go to around, like Indian currency, I'm talking about 2 crores to 6 crores, okay, for a good film. And uh, for a uh, for a starry film, like if I want to sell a film like Mr. Salman Khan, just 15 days back, I hope everyone knows Mr. Salman Khan. If you don't know, he is the #1 star in India right now. So he was demanding an OTT, like fees, means one of the OTT formats, he told that I want to sell my film in 38 crores. Okay, so it is a big amount. Okay, so of course no one took it, because it was a big amount. But it is important that you should understand your OTT release format, means what revenue you can get from there, because it is important in these times. Okay, now there are various rights we can sell. Sorry, those are like, I hope I am with you, you can hear me, every one of you. We in India sell first the music rights. Okay, now the music rights can be sold on a barter system. Okay, barter system means they give us trailer.
Mr. Suvahhdan, I am there. Sorry, I was just in like really noisy place.
No, no,
But I'm there. I follow the workshop.
no, it's okay, it's okay. I was on the last point, and I cannot share the screen. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, okay, it's fine. No problem.
I was on the
Continue, please.
last point on the PPT. That is okay, I think. I verbally can explain it. Okay. So barter system means, like, we give our music to the music company, like ZT series, or Sony Music, or Times Music. Then they see what type of music it is, see what is the reach of the music. I mean, like, what is it? A music? Is it a beat music? Then they decide the cost of the music, and they give us the trailers. Okay, they'll say that we'll run your trailers, we'll run your promos on channels. Okay, you don't have to pay us, we don't pay you, we show your trailers. Okay, so normal thing, means like normal trailer of 30 seconds every day, like 210 slots or 215 slots a month can cost me 1 crore rupees. Okay, I'm telling in Indian currency. So that one, that value of my music will be like 1 crore or 50 lakhs or whatever. It depends on what kind of music you make. Okay, that is the first right you sell. Then theatrical right. Okay, theatrical right. We in India have we in India have 11 that is 11 territories where we sell our rights. Okay, now it's a bidding system here. Okay, where we bring in the distributors after the crew, that is the technical screening. Okay, once we are very confident about the film and its cost, what should be the cost that we should sell the film to distributors. Okay, then we arrange a distributor screening. Okay, the producers, the executive producers, they arrange distributor screenings. Okay. Now, in distributor screening, the distributor is like it's an auction kind of a thing where some where we can say that each territory have to give us like a fixed amount. Okay. And sometimes the commission is shared. Sometimes the distributor purchases that theatrical right. uh, it was like in the past it was one single distributor who was distributing it overseas also, and he was distributing it in India also. Now we have many distributors, like many overseas distributors. We can deal in many distributors like the 11 territory distributors. Okay. So our region is divided into north and south. Like India is divided into north and south. Now mainly I'm into Hindi films. Okay, the Bollywood films. Now the Bollywood film business is like it is northeast, we can say. It is of course in the south, but south we don't take many theaters when we start. In the second week, we can increase the theaters. Okay. Now the theater count here in India for a Salman Khan film can go up to 3,000. Okay. He gets around 3,000 screens. Okay, more than that screens he can say. Okay, in the first week. So there, as I was in the theatrical thing. Okay, theatrical right thing. Secondly, as I told you, if the film is run by the studio, then the studio will say in the technical screening that now it is our thing that we will pay you the amount, or uh, like we'll take the film. Okay, you will be like only credited, you will be not getting commission, or you will be not getting the benefits of the film. Your work as a producer or a director or an executive producer stops here. Then the studios, uh, they take over and they distribute and they do the P&A, they do the marketing, and every stuff is done by them. And all the profit that is from the theatrical, from the box office, from the OTT sale, from the in-flight sale, from the music sale, whatever sale, the satellite sale comes to the studios. Okay. Now theatrical sales, number two point we can say, can be like 35 35 to the producer and 65 to the distributors. Okay. i'm telling uh, I'm telling us, I'm giving an example. Okay, that is not fixed actually, that you have to bargain on that. Okay. But Bollywood films, if they say is a is like this is a flop film, understand the film is flopped only in the eyes of the audience. The film recovers its cost before it comes on the screen, because it is advisable that before releasing the film, you have to sell all your rights. Okay, try to secure your amount. Okay, then release the film. Okay, all the box office.
Excuse me. Sorry, your voice keep cutting off. Can you just repeat the last point? And if that's possible, any other, just if that possible to mute everybody, just to make sure we are hearing you very well, because your voice keep cutting off. And there is another colleague, maybe he forget to mute himself. Just only last point, if that possible to repeat it, I will be really appreciate that.
I will do it. I'm so sorry. And like here in India, we have a rainy season going on, so there is a network issue. Last time also we had a network issue, so we apologize for that. Sorry. I'll definitely repeat it. As I told you, you have to sell your film before it comes on the celluloid. Okay, you should know that technique. You should it is important that you should at least recover 50 to 60% of the amount from your satellite, OTT, and whatever sales that you have. Okay, then the box office is like, we can say here in India we say it as a chai pani. Okay, we talk it's like a chai pani in India. Okay, box office. But box office is also it's a snack. We can say it's a snack for us. Okay, but it is also important that you market the film to a target audience. Okay, that will go and see your film, right? And it is done, as I told you, in the concept and in the plot scenario, because it is very much important that this has to be done from the beginning, because and a filmmaker or a producer should understand where his film is going, who is the audience that will see the film. Okay, now every industry has its own part and parcel of the game. Okay, the Hollywood industry is working in a different level, because their budget is like millions and billions. They also have a worldwide release, okay, of things. Also, they have a larger audience where they can cater. They know where to cater, because mm, I can say that 2 years back, it was like the film Jungle Book was first released in India. Then it was released in the other countries. Indian business was around 150 crores. Okay, then they put into other countries. So every industry has its own part and parcel. I hope the UAE industry also, the Emirati industry, now it is growing, and it will inshallah grow in the coming days. So uh, for a start, it is important for us to like know which are the people and what are the stories we are catering. First of all, where will the business come from? We should not replicate what is happening in Hollywood. Okay, because it's a different scenario. We should not replicate what is happening in India, because India has a total different scenario. We should not replicate like whatever that you do. You do direction, you do acting. I told you, you should have your own creativity. Of course, there are guidelines. These are only the guidelines that I'm giving you in the temple of transformation, that is like the shams, or whatever the our like head Mr. Muhammad Salim is doing it. So he's doing a fantastic work. Okay, in house he's bringing a lot of faculties, and he's giving a lot of knowledge to people. Okay, so it is important to all of you that you should gather that knowledge, you should gather this knowledge, and you should come up with your own creative ideas and your own creative things. Okay, your own production houses, and you have to start somewhere. I always tell at the end of my session that whatever you hear or whatever you read, don't just go around and just make a folder and store it. You have to start from somewhere. Okay, so it is important that we should understand uh, what type of cinema we are making, where it will go, how to sell it. It is advisable that I told you, for a smaller film, always go to festivals first. If you are if you have made a good feature film with great subtitles, then go to festivals first. Festivals can bring you those studio houses, those producers that you want for your P&A or distribution. Okay, and of course, first festival, what it gives you is it gives you a broader perspective of looking at things on larger scale, that it will give you an international audience. Okay, so you should know what you are doing, right? Yeah, I'll just will try to show you a PPT presentation of a film, and if you have a concept uh, that is like you want to make it in a feature film, that concept of yours, then what should be like your presentation if you are pitching a producer, or you are a producer, if you are pitching an investor or a financer, or a studio house that you go to, okay, what you have to show. Sorry, I got DC. Yeah. Just give me 2 minutes, please.
So, guys, what is the problem we face now?
I don't think it's a problem. He just wanted some time to go and sort out something to share with us on his screen.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry for inconvenience, but maybe because the network in India is a little bit weak.
Yeah. Now what I have done is I have put it in the chat box. You can see it. It will come to you. It will come to you around 10 to 15 seconds. Okay. I have sent you a file of 24 Victory House. Okay. You can see at your own convenience. Okay. After the session also, I'll just try to put in some important points that you can gel in the PPT. I hope everyone has got the PPT. Can you see it in your chat box? 24 Victory House. Yeah, fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic. So if you want this, I can mail you 2-3 PPTs. Then how to pitch in production houses, or how to pitch in studios, you can do on your own. Okay, this kind of PPTs, right? So it is important that you should have in your PPT first who is the actor you are willing to take in your film. Okay, because he is the selling point of your film. Secondly, the second USP is the log line or the synopsis you can take. Okay, then the scheduling, how you are going to schedule the film, right? It will be a 30-day schedule, it will be a 40-day schedule, it will be like it is not an elaborated breakout. You can say it is like index, it has 5 to 6 index points. Okay, a short elaboration of your scheduling you can put in there. Then the budget. Okay, then the budget, what budget you want to make the film. Okay, what is the pre-production budget, you have to have detailed breakout of it. Okay, then it is important that you should have the production budget also written in details, then the post-production budget, then the P&A and release budget. Okay, so all these budgets has to be mentioned clearly in the PPT. Okay, then the USP of the film, I mean the USP points, that means the 10 or 15 points that are like the points that can sell the film. Okay, and how you are going to shoot the film is also important. That has to be also be shared in the USP point. Okay, so this is like an overall scenario of we can say video production and a feature film production. I told you I have gave you the prospect in like indie producer an indie producer's prospect, sorry. Then the studio when they come in, what are the things that is like given to them. I request all of you to please share your email ID so that I can share 2 or 3 of the PPTs to you. Okay, if you are not getting the PPT in the chat box. Okay, and I told you first, whenever we start, we should register everything from your production house to the log line to the plots and the film also. Okay, then a video production, as I told you, can be the rights of the video production can be sold to the to a production house or to a studio if they want to make that into a feature film. Okay, but you should be like very much confident that you will direct or you will produce the film, because sometimes what the the studios will say that we will hire your concept, of course we will purchase your concept, I'm so sorry. Okay, we have liked your film in the festival format. Okay, we have liked the short film, but we like to like just have the concept with us, not the team. Okay, but you should be like very much in the convincing zone that you are the best possible person to direct or produce the film. Okay, of course it's your own pitch, right? And it is important that you should always, I hope you have seen the story of Mr Sylvester Stallone. Okay, and it's an inspiring story. Okay, to all the new producers and all the new actors and the new directors who want to come to the beautiful industry that we work in. Okay, that he was very confident about his project. He was very confident about the script. He used to run from studios to studios. You know about the story. I don't have to elaborate on that. But what sells in cinema is your confidence. Understand? Not the confidence of speaking, but the confidence that you show in your project. Understand? A financier or investor might not understand the etiquettes or the guidelines or the textbook of cinema, but he is confident that you are confident on the project. Okay. Now the perfect pitch will be that, right? And they say that if you go to shoot, then your magazine should be loaded. Okay. Now it is important that you start, right? And my session will end here in this uh, this line only, that whatever I learn to understand, not to judge, first of all. Secondly, whatever I learn, I should implement. It is said everywhere, to know is not important, to implement is important, and to implement to correctly is important. Okay. uh, I have all the knowledge in the world, but I don't have the the determination or the guts or whatever it is to go and to kill it. Okay. But I uh, confidently pray to all the gods that you be a fantastic producer or whatever you want to be in life. And always understand, uh, this is, I'm telling you fourth or fifth time, that every industry is working in its own comfort zone with its own rules and regulations. Okay. So it is important for us to adapt those rules and regulations. And if we are making a film in UAE or related to Emirati films, we are doing it, then try to understand your audience, then do a film, then release the film. Okay. uh, my best advice is to go to festivals first. Okay. Or I have everything from the funds to the investors to the concept, but I don't have a great I don't have a great director or a good production house to back out. Then you have to take guidance, or you have to hire a good production house with you. You be the producer. That is not an issue, but you have to hire a production house that has done things. You should hire a director that has done a lot of things. Okay. Then you take his expertise, and then you start the film. Okay. At least here in India, we co-produce the films. I was co-producer of my first film, as I told you. Then I became the producer. Okay. And various segments we do. I have a sister concern production house of mine who is into ad films and corporate films. Okay. Who is into line production, right? My two of my friends, of course, they are executive producers, but they are working with me for the past 20 to 22 years. So they are like friends, and they are more than family now. But they work in my production house, or they bring in investors for me as in executive producers. Okay. We also have associate producers with us. They associate producer is like a hat. Okay. It's they are more like funding the film or seed funding the film, but they are not actively involved in the film. Okay. But it is a hat given to them, right? uh, Line producer, of course, I told you, I don't have to explain it once again. Okay. And you can see in a film, in a good film, in a big film, we can have around 10 to 15 co-producers and 5 to 6 associate producers. Okay. And 2 to 3 producers, means produced by, right? So these are like major tasks that we have to do in big productions. Okay. But uh, whenever whenever we do, we have to start with small. That is my advice to you, all of you. And then we'll go, of course, when we'll be big, then sky's the limit for us. Okay, so that is the thing that I wanted to share with you today, and it was lovely talking to you all. I apologize that yeah, I'm so sorry. I apologize that the last page I couldn't show you because of the network issues, and inshallah I'll try to mail you all the things that I couldn't show you. Okay, of course it was just a PPT I wanted to show you, and I try to do an
Mr. Suvahhdan, he will enter again. I think he still have an issue with the network there.
Yes, yes, I'm back. I'm so sorry. As I told you, facing a network issue due to rains here. Uh, as I was telling you, I'll mail you the things, okay? And I try to do interactive sessions, but the production subject is not an interactive subject because you have to go into the deep of every aspect and segments that are like has to be defined and has to be defined by an expert. So I hope I am clear with whatever time I got here, okay? Inshallah, when I'll come to UA in the days to come, I'll try to explain it in deep to you. And as our Temple of Transformation expert here, that is Mr. I call it a Temple of Transformation. Almelyas is a Temple of Transformation because it is transforming lives by giving education. Okay, and hats off to Mr. Muhammad Salim for doing it. Okay, and may God bless you for that. So whenever I'll be there, I'll be explaining it in deep. And if you want to get clarity on the points that I made in elaborated format, you can always mail me. I'll put in my email ID here in a chat box for everyone. This is my email ID, dsmovies_academy@yahoo.in. Yeah. I'll put in my Instagram handle, okay, where you can follow us on Instagram. That is Sinan Acting and Media Academy. Okay, Sinan Acting and Media Academy is running in India for the past 16 years. We have trained more than 2,000 actors till now, those who are working in Bollywood films. Okay, and we have groomed around more than 1,200 technicians, means actors, screenwriters, producers. Okay, so you can go and you can check my handle on Instagram, or you can simply Google my name on your PC as Suvahhdan Angre, and you'll get all the information about the production house and about me. And if you have questions, I related to the topic I'm talking about, then you can shoot one by one. I'll try to give answers to your questions, and I just told you that you can send your email IDs on the chat box, and I'll mail you the PPTs. Okay. So if you have questions, you can raise your hand, or you can unmute yourself and ask your questions, please.
Hello, Steve. How's it going? My name is Rick. How are you doing? Thank you very much for your very informative lecture. And I remember you said you had some questions regarding the UAE film industry.
Yes, yes, yes.
Right?
I'll be asking that questions like whenever I done with your questions, then I'll ask in the last 10 minutes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Then I have nothing to say. Then I'll just wait for the questions, and then I'll answer that question. with the help of Mohammed Salam, of course.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess I'll start interacting with you now about last time I did an screenwriting session for 3 days, and there were a wonderful set of screenwriters that they were with me in that screenwriting session. Okay, and I just asked about how the Emirati industry means what concept, okay, are working there. Okay, and I think it was Khalid. Yeah, I clearly remember his name. And Khalid told me that they have means your industry has 2-3 concepts that we have to work in. But my question to you is you're catering to this UAE industry. How many theaters you have? First of all, you have multiplexes. How many multiplexes you have? I mean. In Dubai or in Sharjah or Abu Dhabi, how many multiplexes you have and what kind of films they run in there? Apart from Bollywood and Hollywood films.
Okay, I'll try to answer the question to the best of my ability. I believe we have 300 cinemas. We do have various distribution and cinema plexes that cater to a certain audience. For example, you have Star Cinemas that mainly their main focus are Indian films, Bollywood films, South Indian films, and films from those areas, Tamil Nadu, you name it. They do have a few Hollywood films, but that's not their main focus. As far as everybody else goes, whether it's Vox or who else do we have? We got Century Cinemas and a number of others that cater to pretty much not just Hollywood films, but there's a lot of Arabic films as well coming from the industry giant in the region, which is Egypt. As a matter of fact, Egypt and India around the same time got the camera invention from the Lumiere brothers. They purchased it at the same time as you guys did.
Yes.
I believe we have over at least, give or take, 300 cinemas, with maybe throughout the 7 Emirates, maybe about 10 multiplexes, and that's growing actually, with a lot of the real estate developments and all. That's to the best of my knowledge. I would invite anyone else to chime in, especially Mohammed Salam, to correct me if I'm wrong. Thank you.
And how many Emirati films you told me? 7 to 8 films are running.
Could you say that again?
Yeah. And how many Emirati films are there actually a year? Means 7 to 8 you say, the release of the Emirati films?
Around that much. It's growing. It depends on the season, actually. Sometimes it's 7 or 8, sometimes it's a lot less. Depends. But one of the main peak seasons here, which is the Ramadan period, where people focus mostly phenomenal. And from the way things are going, we see it growing to maybe even more than 7 to 8. If that answers your question. Again, if anyone can chime in and correct my information, it'd be greatly appreciated.
Okay.
Thank you.
I would add, though, that I think the jury is still out as to what the long-term impact on the industry here will be of the current situation. I think because the industry has been growing for a period of time, it's likely to end up being hit rather harder than the more established centers. I don't know, Rick, if you'd agree with that.
Yes and no. If we're just talking about the UAE, then I'd say maybe, but there's strong interest in Saudi, and Saudi have been creating content from way before, and they're very instrumental in helping actually the UAE grow. The UAE has its own power base, absolutely. It's just that the Saudis delved in it more. They've taken advantage of the social media revolution even before. I remember when they had a lot of the festivals before, a lot of the top names came from Saudi and arguably Kuwait, Bahrain, and then Oman. But with also the OTT formats and a lot of the digital platforms that are opening, there's Netflix in the region, so and Netflix is releasing a lot of content, and also there's rumor that Amazon is starting. So most probably what's going to end up happening is everything's just going to, and there's also other platforms from a lot of the big studios such as Shahid and whatnot. A lot of that is going to move into digital, and there's a lot more digital content that's going to be seeing our screens. Probably our best bet would be I guess the digital platforms. But you're right, Greg. We might take a bad hit, but we won't be out of the game yet, because also there's still a lot of other international productions that will be coming. There's one that was announced for Hotstar. So there's two major web series, Bollywood web series, that are supposed to be coming in starting next month, and that's just the start of a long slate of other productions. So even if local production may take a hit, there's still going to be a lot more co-pros, especially with the Indian film industry, that are going to help the UAE not be out of the fight. I hope that answers queries. And again, if my information is wrong, please have anyone just chime in. It'd be greatly appreciated. So also fix the knowledge or lack of that I have. Thank you.
It's fantastic, Rick. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Rick and Mr. Greg. Thank you very much for putting in your inputs. And let us be in this positive zone that in the coming years of UAE cinema, that we can say, we will be like, of course, Mr. Mohammed Salim has to play a very important part in that, and people like Mr. Mohammed Salim and people like you should play a very important. This is a revolution that is coming to UAE, understand? And every revolution has a bad start, but the ending is not bad. Okay, it is important that we should support our content. Okay, and our language content, our industry content, and if you are becoming pros, like you guys are becoming pros, then you should support the local industry first, because it is important. It is very much important, because here in India we have around 36 or more languages that the films are made. Okay, but every state government is supporting its language. They are giving subsidies, they are giving equipments, they are giving like 100% off for locations, and whatever they whatever they want to give, they are supporting the industry. Like, it is important to understand that this support will take you to the place that you want to go. And always do the first things that you do with experts. It is very much important, because in production, money is involved, understand? And whatever it is, may it be $100 or may it be $1 million, money is involved. And where money is involved, experts should come in. That is important, because me, as a producer, I always, when I start a film, I think, of course, I think the guidelines, and I go with the flow of the production. But I think about monetary things, that ROI, where I'll sell the film, who will see the film, what is my product, or what is the amount that, what is the profit that I'll make at the end of the day. Because if I am that passionate producer, and if I get my ROI in my first film, then I can make 100 films in the coming days. Okay, I will not be a one film wonder. So I request all of you who are coming to production to take the help of experts, and it is important that we should always go with our background, means the state where we stay, the country where we stay, and we should develop it like we should start our own development first. Okay, instead of going to me, I made a point in the middle also, that Hollywood industry is totally different, Bollywood is totally different. Okay, we should not replicate it, or we should not compare it, okay, to our industry, but it is important. And our what kind of production houses that you have locally, I'm talking about in the UAE? That is my next question, and then we'll stop. If anybody can answer me, please. How they work?
Okay. We have two different models of how productions, and rather, well, we don't have that many studios, but we have government subsidiaries that are working with the TV channels. We have Abu Dhabi Media Company that's got one of the biggest financiers in the region and almost globally, called Imagination. You got Dubai Studio City, where Mohammed Salim used to run the workshops, and then you have all these Dubai Media City, and I believe there's another hub that's growing as well. So that's well and good, but what is also amazing is you have a lot of independent production companies, not just necessarily within, not Dubai Studio City, it's a media production zone where the workshops are. But yeah, other than the government subsidiaries, you also have a lot of the independent production companies, and they're growing like almost rapidly. There's certain areas in Dubai that at first where you have these production companies, but then also what's amazing is every one of these production companies can almost cater, arguably, to every budget of every upcoming producer and talent, judging from where the location is, whether it's the Al Quoz, the Dubai Media City area, all the way down to downtown Dira. There's different collaborators in different studios. Some of them have ties with distribution. Now, the distribution model is a little bit more different because you have sole production houses. Some deal with distribution, but not all of them. So I hope that answers your question. Did I leave anything out, or does anyone want to chime in on anything?
Thank you, Rick. Thank you for your answer. I'm just trying to understand the things that are happening in the Yeah.
Oh, one more thing before I forget. There's also incentives from the government, from certain government entities that encourage filmmaking, such as, to my knowledge, the National Media Council actually funded a few Emirati films. And maybe this may not be known, but the private distribution companies have the lowest distribution rates in the world, which count to 10 to 15%, and that's in a bid to support Emirati films. Whereas the cinema distribution companies such as Vox and have a different model, which counts to at least 50%. So mostly what Emirati producers would spend on is the marketing. Usually you'll find the marketing budget a lot more, and also depending on the deal, also with the with said the distributors, the deals of course vary from 50% to a lot less, pending. And also one of the things that, because you mentioned before, you shouldn't have a film that's competing with other films. We have had to, as uh, filmmakers from the Emirates, we've had to actually compete with a few films. I don't believe we're still at a place where we can have independent slots. It's growing. It's growing. You have a lot of you have few cinemas like Roxy. I don't know if you're familiar with the area in Jumeirah called City Walk. So they have a beautiful, beautiful setup, very high, and for a certain rate, they can actually rent out the space for independent screenings. So they have that, and it's growing. It's not there yet, but it's growing, which is really good to see. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, you would not be able to have an independent setup at a high-end theater establishment. It would generally be one of these very modest independent theaters. Am I correct? Right? And they also have in the US and other places. But what the UAE is trying to do is they're trying to provide the best screening purposes to, screening incentives to promote the Emirati filmmaking scenes by allowing them to screen at very, very high-end theaters.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you very much, Rick. Once again, thank you very much. I'm just trying to understand what is going around in your country as in film. And
Hi. May I suggest one point?
yes, yes, please, please, Mr. Evan.
Yes. In UAE, actually, the distributor get between 10 to 15%, correct? But the exhibitor get 50% from the income. So it's in the end 35 to the production, to the producer, and 65 minimum to 70 to the exhibitor and distributors. So it's like same in India. It's 35, 65. Yeah, the same income. So that's why still the income in UAE for the producers very, very low in comparison with the cinema capacity and the public. Also, I guess now it's I don't know how many theater, but it's around 900 screen. So the majority of theaters are for Indian viewers. That's it. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
One question for you, sir. you was talking about movie is flop in India only in the eyes of audience. Then the sound disappear. So I didn't hear why. You said why, and can I answer? Can you complete this sentence from your side, please?
Yeah, yes, please. I'll definitely do it for you. See, as I told you, movies are flopped means when it comes to the box office. Okay, and as I told you, box office. If you sell the film before it comes to the box office, then box office is just like a chai pani. It's like a snack. Okay, if you have the art of selling that, right? Of course, the box office is a profit making thing, right? But sometimes it is sometimes many of the times it is said that box office failure is like total failure of the film is not recovered. It is not like that. Film recovers with satellite, with OTT, with all the formats, like when it is sold before the release of the film. That's why I told you, when you're making a film, if you're an expert, then you know how to sell it. Or if you're not an expert, then take an expert and then release the film. Okay, of course, nobody in the world has that formula that the film will be liked by all the audiences. Okay, this concept will liked by the audience. Nobody has that formula. Okay, you just convince your concept to the audience. You just convince your concept through cinema making, or your style, or the trailers, or the hook points, or whatever that you put in the film. Okay, and if the audience is convinced, the story is convinced through these points, then the film is hit. Okay, but sometimes the concept is bright, the concept is very good, but the audience don't like the film. Okay, now it doesn't mean that the filmmaker is like he hasn't worked that much hard on that film, or whatever it is. Okay, the audience don't like it means it is not giving you the box office, the snack that you want actually. Okay, but as I told you, if you are a pro, then you can make money on this. Okay, as simple as that.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so I guess this is my time here, and it was fantastic interacting with all you lovely people. And you can see that back of the camera means the creative people, the crew, or the producer, or whatever it is related to the crew, apart from the actors. We are like there are a handful number of people, means we'll get 25 50 in the class. Okay, so whatever it is, we have to understand that we are like blessed to have that scenario, like I'm a producer, or I'm a production house, or whatever it is, I'm a cinematographer, or I'm a screenwriter. Okay, because it's a de-glamorized profession. Okay, it's a de-glam profession. Some of the producers, of course, they want to come in front of the camera, they speak, they give interviews, and whatever it is. But how many people come? There are just 20-25% people. Most of the 75% of the producers, they are not like they do their stuff, and they are like they're happy in just calculating the money. Okay, so it's a de-glam profession, but it is important that you should understand the powerfulness of the profession, because if you don't have a producer, then the film will not be there. Okay, a director cannot make a film without a producer. An executive producer cannot make a film. A studio cannot make a film without a producer. So producer, for me, still stand the number one person in the cast and crew list. Okay,